Thank you. I always forget, and I just want to get started right away. So welcome everybody to labeling and organizing photos on the iPhone. We're going to hopefully be able to offer a presentation both to our blindness clients as well as our VIPs. And please don't get wrapped up in like taking tons and tons of notes, because our hope is at the end of the presentation to give you the PowerPoint. And the PowerPoint that we're going off of, or that Mary Abby created, should be able to provide you with the directions that you can then take and be able to practice on your own. And again, next week, we're doing an AT discovery session. So anybody that had questions, problems with labeling and organizing can then come back to us and say, okay, hey, you know, show me how to do this, or you know, I had a problem doing this. So that's kind of how we structured today's workshop. Any questions so far?
Yeah.
Go for it.
My question, did I understand you right when you said you're going to give us PowerPoint and you're going to show us how to use it? Or
We're not going to show you.
Huh?
We're not going to show you how to use the PowerPoint, but the PowerPoint is going to give you the instructions that you need to label and organize photos.
Yep, so I'll give you both the PowerPoint file, and I will give you also just a plain Word file with the instructions in it. So that way, if you don't have access to PowerPoint, you'll be able to use just the regular Word document.
Oh, okay. All right. Because I was going to say, I don't have PowerPoint on my phone. Okay.
That's okay. All right.
I'll be on the side behaving.
Okay, John, that sounds good.
Thanks, John.
All right.
If there's no more questions, Mary Abby, go for it.
All right. Are we all good?
Pretty good.
Okay.
Awesome.
So we're gonna go for a little stretch here, and then we'll stop for questions, and then we'll kind of do it that way so that we have time for both. So thanks for joining us. We are just going to quickly talk about how to label, organize, and share your iPhone or iPad photos, as well as obtain information about those photos using apps like Seeing AI. That way you can know what's even in the photos before you start labeling them. So we'll go into those things. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is why you would even use photos. I know some people might say, oh, well, I'm blind or visually impaired. Like, I don't see the use in using the Photos app. I don't understand why anyone, would use the Photos app. Those are some questions that I've heard before. So many blind or visually impaired people use photos like sighted peers. The photos that we take apply both to us and to those who are fully sighted. I, for example, keep photographs of important documents sometimes. For example, I have a picture of my insurance card, front and back, so I have photos of that. And so those are things that you just want to keep with you just in case you don't have the card with you. It's just an example of an important document that you might have a photo of. Some people might say, oh, you should really take a photo of your COVID shot card, that keeps the record that you got your COVID shot, your vaccination. And some people have photos of that on their phone just for records. So important documents are definitely things that people have photos of on their phone, whether you're sighted or not. That is something that people can utilize either way. You just have to make sure that you label them so that you know what you're looking for when you need to, when you need to pull them up for somebody to see. A lot of people also keep photos when they save them from the internet. Let's say they are browsing the internet and they find a photograph of something that they want to save. They will save it to their photo roll, their camera roll, and it will be on their phone. Similarly, if you save a photo to your phone, it then allows you to then run it through something like Seeing AI to identify any text that's in the photo or any objects that might be in the photo. So just having the photo saved to your phone might allow you to then identify what's in the photo. For example, You might be browsing something like Facebook or Instagram, then you find a photo with a particularly interesting caption, and you're like, oh, I wonder what this photo is about. I wonder what's in this photo or what it says. So then you could save it to your phone and run it through the Seeing AI app and gather information about what might be in that photo. Of course, some people keep photos about regarding memories that they might have, some vacation photos, you know, a fun day that they might have had, family members, because then you might want to be able to send those photos to somebody else or share them with other family members or friends. So that's a common thing too. I know I have many photos of my dogs on my phone. I know I can't see them, but I know that if somebody would say, "Oh, hey, show me a photo of your dog Kylie," and I'd be like, "Oh, okay, I have photos of that, no problem." Just for fun to show. And some people also take screenshots. And when you take a screenshot is a quick snapshot of what's on your screen at that moment. And so a lot of people take those, and they also end up in your Photos app. So for me, I take screenshots a lot when I am, let's say, taking a ride share. So if I'm using Lyft or Uber, oftentimes I will screenshot the information about my driver's name, what kind of car they're in, the license plate number. So that way it's on my phone and I have it for my records in case anything goes kind of funky. So I have screenshots of that, and that's where they end up. They also end up in your photo app. And the last thing that the Photos app is used for is for videos. If you take any kind of video, it also ends up in your Photos app. Okay, and so now we're going to quickly talk about a little bit of an orientation to the Photos app so that you understand what the Photo app kind of looks like, how it's laid out. So the Photos app has 4 tabs at the bottom, and a tab is kind of breaks the app into different sections. So if you open up each tab, it will bring up a different section of the app. So the first tab or section is called Library, and this is where you can see all the photos on your phone, and you can also filter the photos by specific days or specific months or specific years. So if you will say, I only want to see photos from 2016, you can actually filter that and show photos only from that year in this library section. Then you have the For You tab. And this is where the iPhone tries to filter your photos for you. It kind of tries to make categories for you based on the location that a photo was taken, the area that it was, or the time, the date, the event. Sometimes the iPhone will be like, oh, I can tell that these photos are wedding photos, so I'm going to put them all in one kind of section so that you can find all the wedding photos. So it kind of tries to be smart, and it tries to figure out what your photos are for and categorize them for you. The next tab that you have is Albums. And in this tab, you can create your own albums, like digital photo albums, where you can add different photos to each one and say, okay, and for example, I have a photo album just for dogs. So all my dog pictures go in that photo album so that I can find them. So it's a way for you to organize all of your pictures. There's also the Favorites album in this section. So the Favorites album is just a quick way for you to designate important photographs and put them in the favorite section, or I guess you could just say any photos that are your favorite, you could put in that album. You can also view your files by what type of media they are. So there's a section for you just to view videos only. There's an album just for videos, and there's an album just for screenshots. There's also an album, or you might even call them a folder, for everything that you've deleted within the last 30 days. It kind of tries to keep stuff just in case you accidentally deleted something you weren't supposed to. So it tries to keep that for 30 days. So there's a photo album or a folder, depends on how you want to refer to this one, of all the things that you've deleted recently. I think it's called Recently Deleted. So these are all things in the Albums tab. And the last tab is called search. The search tab is actually just a big search box. And in the search box, you can type in specific keywords and you can search for photos based on the location, the category, things like that. And for example, it actually kind of knows, it's kind of creepy because if I go to mine, it shows me one of the categories is animals. And I guess I have a lot of animal pictures, oopsie. So it has a lot of photos of animals. And if I pick that button, it might try to pull up any photos with animals in it. And so we'll kind of talk about that search function a little bit more later because it might come in handy when we use the captioning feature. So those are the 4 different tabs that you have access to at the bottom of your screen. And so when you are in an album or when you are in the library tab, there's always going to be an important button at the top, and it's called the select button. And that select button is going to enable you to choose multiple photos at once to take actions on those multiple photos. We'll go into that in a little bit, but I just wanted to make you aware that at the top of any, if you are in an album or if you are in the library tab, there is a select button in the top center of your screen. And it is pretty important if you're going to be working with multiple pictures at once. And it's also a good time saver. Questions so far? Okay. All right. So we're going to talk about how to label your photos. So a lot of times, obviously, well, not a lot of times, all the time, if you're blind, you can't tell what each photo is. VoiceOver, we did discuss a long time ago that VoiceOver does try to give you as much information about that photo as it can. It tells you what time it was taken, if it's in portrait or landscape mode, if it's blurry, and it might even be able to tell you how many people are in the photo, but it doesn't give you enough information for you to really know what's in that picture. So labeling photos is pretty important if you want to keep things organized and know what you have going on in your camera roll. And there are 2 ways to label your photos. The first way is what I call the VoiceOver method, just because I don't necessarily think that the way that you do this will be visible to you if you were actually to look at it. So any label that you give your photo, I don't know that somebody looking over your shoulder would be able to see the label on it. So what you do is locate the photo that you want to label. So you can either go to the libraries tab, or you can go to the album and find the particular album with the photo in it. And just for your reference, there's always going to be an album called Recents, and that also contains every single photo you've taken that's on your phone as well. So you can always go to Recents and look at the photos there and choose the photo you want to work with. It is sorted from oldest to newest, so the newest photos are at the bottom. So oftentimes I just go in there and I look for the photo that I want to label there, because let me be real, my photo library is not as organized as I would like it to be. So if I want to find the right picture, I would probably go into the Recents tab, or Recents album. So after you locate the photo that you want to label, and you can do this by swiping left to right or right to left through the different photographs in that album. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take 2 fingers and double tap and hold it. So I'm going to show you the sound that it makes when you do that. I'm going to do it right now for you.
Speech on Recents, 305 photos.
Okay.
Recents, favorites, Recents, photo, mark albums, screenshot photo, March 30th.
Okay, I found a photo. And I'm gonna just take 2 fingers, double tap and hold, and it's gonna make a funny sound.
Alert, label element.
And you want to hold it until you hear that label element pop up. So I'm gonna do it one more time.
Photo.
I'll do it one more time. So it's about a 3-second hold. Okay, and that's how you bring up
label element.
Oh, that's how you bring up it's called a label element box. And actually it brings up a keyboard. And what you want to do is just type or dictate the label that you want that photo to have. So let's see, I can actually give this one.
11:19 a.m. Albums. Back video. Video. Photo. March 30th. Alert.
So I'm going to call
Label
this.
element.
I'm going to call this photo test, I guess.
C-R-O-L-T-R delete L-E-N-T T-E-F-T.
Okay, so I called it test, and then after you're done giving it the label that you want to give it, you're going to hit the return key, and it finishes creating the label.
Photo. March 20, page 21.
Oops. And so now when I scroll through my photo library, let's see if I can find that same picture.
Screenshot, screen, photo, March 3rd, photo, March, test, March 30th.
There we go. Oops.
April 1st.
So as I was scrolling through my photographs, I don't know if you could hear it okay, but as I was scrolling through it, I came across the test photo.
Test, March 30th.
And there we go. That's how you make the, that's how you label the element and give it a name.
Speech off.
In the Photos app. That only works with VoiceOver. If you don't have VoiceOver on, it is not going to work. So keep that in mind. Questions so far? Okay. And one thing to keep in mind that I found, I don't know if this is a bug, it could be. Sometimes the label you create will also travel to the last photo that is taken. I don't know why this happens. I think it's a bug. So for example, I labeled a photo right at Christmas time, and I gave a nice big label. I told, I wrote who was in the photograph. It was like a bunch of family members with Christmas tree. And then like a month ago, I took another photo. There was another photo in my camera roll, and that photo also had the same label from my Christmas tree photo. I don't know why, but the Christmas tree photo label was still on the original picture. It just seemed like it also got copied over to the latest photograph. I don't know what's going on there, and I think it might be a bug because it didn't happen in the previous version of iOS. So just keep that in mind. You might see a duplicate of that label. But let's say, for example, I knew that picture only took place in December. So that when I saw that label on a photograph in April, I was like, nope, that's not the right picture because I didn't take a picture with a Christmas tree in April. So just something to keep an eye on. But it works really well otherwise. Okay. Okay, now this one is a more visual method. It works visually and non-visually, but it is not for VoiceOver only. So it's called you can give the photo a caption. You can give your photos a caption. That is new with iOS 13 or 14, I believe. So it works for, like I said, VoiceOver and visual users, but VoiceOver does not announce the caption as you're scrolling through the photos in the album. You have to manually go into the photograph itself and find that caption. So it's not as seamless as the first way that I kind of showed you guys. It is meant to be used kind of as a tagging system so that you could give some information to your phone about what's in the photograph so that when you go into that search tab that we talked about earlier, you might have an easier time looking for specific photos. So if I were to caption every single picture of a dog, let's say if I had a picture of Kylie, my first dog, I would label every picture of Kylie with her name. So then if I wanted to find all the Kylie pictures, I could go into the search box and type Kylie. That would be using the captioning method. So to do that, you would double tap or tap on the photo you want to caption. Then you would swipe up on the photo. And if you're using VoiceOver, you will hear her say, show details, and you would double tap. I believe visually speaking, you don't have to double tap on it or tap on it. I think Gloria is going to chat about that in a minute. But yes, you will double tap where it says show details. And then there's a box that says add a caption. And this add a caption box is a text box. So you want to double tap on it and it will bring up the keyboard. And you would type in whatever caption. Oh, Jane and me at Newport Beach on February 2nd or something like that. And then you would double tap, there's a done button or a save button at the top right-hand corner. And you would do that. You would tap that to save it. And then that will save your caption. But in order to read what that caption is, you have to open up that photo again and swipe up on it. And if it says show details, you got to double tap on that show details, and then you can read that caption. So it's not as integrated as the labels that we created the first time. Questions? Okay.
I have a question.
Oh, yep.
I did the detail way of capturing,
Yep.
labeling my photo.
Yes.
Okay. So I labeled a couple photos correctly, but I think like you said earlier, for some reason that label is sticking on other photos that it shouldn't be. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know why it
That
is.
seems
Like,
to be,
you know,
that seems to be a common
Mom,
problem, Richard.
Julie, and I, and Charlie at Block Island, and that's like on a December photo, you know, which it shouldn't be. I know it's so. A lot of these photos still have the same caption, but I didn't know about this 2-finger double tap that you're explaining. I went the old school as the detail route, but I didn't find every photo had that detail route. So that's what was stumbling me, you know.
Right.
Not every photo was offering me that detail to offer a caption. So I could only caption a couple of my photos. But now, like I said, a lot of my photos are captioned the same caption that it shouldn't be.
Right. And so my question is, does the original photo have the right caption?
I believe, yeah, it should, but then there's other photos I'm positive that shouldn't. And the caption now is the way that I did it, detail, is that seeable?
Yes.
Or is that just a voiceover feature for me on
no,
the photo?
that is also a visual method that many others use as well. That might be a bug, Richard, and I'm hoping that they'll fix that soon because that can be quite confusing.
But I'm going to use what you said earlier, the two-finger tap, because I never knew about that.
Yep.
To now do my photos. Okay.
Remember, 2-finger double tap and hold.
Hold, yeah.
Don't forget the hold part. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to do that now.
Oh, good.
Instead.
All right. Let us know how that goes.
Mary Abby.
Hi, Norman.
Yes.
Hi, how are you? Real quick. I heard you mention the word text photo. I assume text photo is when someone sends me a photo in a text format.
Mm-hmm. That's correct. The photograph might have pieces of text in it that you can't read, so you would want to send it through to Seeing AI or something similar to then have it read to you.
Okay.
Yep, and we'll go over that. Good question. All right. So Gloria, does that method also work visually, the way that I described?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yes, so it's the add is the plus button, and then you get a menu drop down where you can pick a new album, a new photo, or a new shared album.
Okay, so for adding a caption, I'm sorry.
Excuse me, sorry.
That's okay.
Missed it.
No worries.
I have to share with you that I am really paying attention to this workshop because this is something that I am not very good at. So I'm learning along with you guys because I always teach, we teach everybody all the functional stuff, and many times these photos, even though they're really important, I never knew that we could label them. So this is all new to me.
I've never done it either.
Yeah.
Have a fun
So
new thing.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm excited for the Discovery Center or the session next week. So because I'll have a ton of questions for everybody else too. So I'm hoping that people that know how to do it will join and we can all share and help me figure it out.
I'm
so
terrible at taking photos, so
yeah,
this
yeah,
is good as
yeah. Yep.
Yes, yep.
Go ahead.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying I use photos for so many things because I see detail. So oftentimes I'll use a photo and then enlarge it so that I could see the detail of the object, the person, or whatever it is. And then I delete the photo. So we never go in and actually label it.
That's cool. So
yes.
That's good. So it's good to know because I was wondering if everyone already kind of knew this stuff and I was just talking to myself. So I'm glad that we're all learning something fun today.
Yes.
Okay, so if anyone doesn't have any more questions, we'll go into organizing the photos. All right. The most efficient way that a lot of people like to use is categorizing these photos into their own albums. So, like I said, even if you put, so there was always that recent album in your albums tab. That album recents will always have all your photos regardless if you move them to another album. So if I send 30 pictures of my dogs, because I keep talking about my dogs for some reason today. Well, if I send 30 pictures of my dogs to the dogs album, they're still going to be in my recents album as well. So that recents album is kind of like a conglomeration of every photo you've taken, regardless if you move them or not. Which is good because that way you can have them all centralized and have them in one place. So to organize your photos by albums, you can go to the albums tab at the bottom of your screen. And then you would tap the add button at the top. I think it's the top left corner. It looks like a plus sign, I think, as Gloria said.
I skipped ahead, sorry.
Oh, that's okay. No.
I have a question.
Yes, John.
Mary, when you said all of your photos will be in your recent ones, and what else?
So what I said was all of the photos you will have will be in your recents album, regardless if you move them to a separate album or not.
Okay. Now, this is my question. And let's say you took a picture of your dog and you did label that picture. Mm-hmm. Will that picture be in both albums or what?
You have to move it yourself and put it in that dog album. But yes.
Oh, okay.
It will be in both.
Very good.
Yep. It doesn't move them for you.
Huh?
It does not move them for you. You have to put them in yourself.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You answered my question. Thanks.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
All right. Yep.
All right. All right. So we'll pause for questions in just a second. So you're going to tap the add button, like we said, and that will create a new album. And you're going to type a name in for that album. For example, dogs, because again, that's all I talk about today, I guess. So then you're going to hit the return button at the bottom of your keyboard, at the bottom right-hand corner of your keyboard. And then you can select photos from this point to put into that album, or you can hit the done button at the top right-hand corner and do it a different way. So you can hit the done button at the top right-hand corner. And then you would go to your library of photos. So you could go to your recents album, or you could go to the library tab at the bottom. And then you would press that special select button that I talked about earlier. It is at the top, I believe, kind of center of your screen. Gloria, do you know what that button looks like? Or does it just say select? You would you obviously with VoiceOver you would double tap it, or you would just touch it if you.
I'm sorry, it says select. Sorry,
it just says select. No, that's okay. No worries.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it just says select. It's not a special symbol or anything. That's good to know.
No.
So after you double tap that select button, or you touch that select button, then you would go to every single photo you want to move to that album, and you would double tap on it, or you would just touch it if you were not using VoiceOver. So you would touch it or double tap it, and then at that point you would have a number of photos selected, and VoiceOver will actually tell you selected photo, blah, blah, blah. So as you scroll through the photos, it will tell you which photos are selected and not selected. And then at the bottom of your screen, you have a bunch of icons. One of them is the share button, and you want to double tap that share button. Then you want to go all the way down to the add to album option. And that's where you're going to go, is you're going to double tap or tap that add to album button. And the album that you created just now should show up in that list of albums, and you should be able to double tap it, and it will send those photos to that album. So like I said, though, all of those photos that you sent to that album will still be in that recents album. And another way that you can organize things is by favoriting photos that you find particularly important. So for example, you might have documents that you want, or photos that you might want to pull up really quickly. So your vaccination card, I don't know, I'm just making things up. You could favorite that so that it's in your favorites album, you know where it is. You don't have to swipe through 300 photos to find it. So to do that, you would double tap on the photo that you want to favorite. And at the bottom, I believe it's the bottom left-hand corner, there's a favorite switch, or some might call it a button, but it's labeled as a switch with VoiceOver. And so VoiceOver will say favorite switch button on or off. And to favorite it, you would just double tap that and turn it on, that switch.
For those visual people, it's a picture of a heart.
Yeah, it's a little heart.
It actually has a picture of a heart. It says on the VoiceOver, it does say switch, but for visual people, it shows it's a symbol of a heart.
So then, Gloria, when you touch that heart, how do you know if it's favorited or not? What color does it turn a color?
The heart. So the heart is outlined if it's not a favorite. If it's a favorite, then it's a solid heart.
Ah, okay. Then you fill in the little heart. Got it.
Correct.
And to delete photos, let's say you want to delete a bunch of photos. Now, there's a few ways to do that. To delete individual photos, you would double tap the photo or tap the photo that you want to delete. And then there's a delete button at the bottom right corner of the screen. I don't know what it looks like visually, but VoiceOver will just tell you delete button.
It looks like a little trash can.
Oh, it's a little trash can. There you go.
Yep.
Send it to the trash.
Yep.
And if you wanted to delete multiple photos, you would go to your library or the album that you want to remove photos from. You would press that select button, just. Then you would select the photos that you want to remove by double tapping or tapping each one. And then at the bottom will be a delete button. At the bottom of your screen, there will be a little trash or a delete button, and you will just double tap that button. And it will ask if you want to delete. Do you want to delete all of these 150 photos? Yes. And you just have to confirm that. Questions?
Now, I just want to make a point, if I could. Even though you're deleting, if I'm correct, it still has a 30-day window. So
Yes.
if you delete all your photos, you still can recuperate it within 30 days.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Richard. That's a great point. There is an
just
album.
for people that and if you do create an album, and like she says, the photo will be in your album and in the recents. If you want to delete the photo, it's going to ask you, do you want to delete it from the album only, or do you want to delete it from the library altogether, which will delete it from the recent and the album. Like I said, yeah, because I have like probably 10 different albums. And when I go to delete something, it will ask me, do you want to delete it only from your album, or do you want to delete it from the overall library? So it gives you that option. So like
Oh,
I said, don't be worried if you delete your photo. I forgot what the caption's called, but you go to that and it gives you a 30-day window to recoup the photo back into your library. So don't get nervous. You
That's
got
right,
30
Richard.
days to
Thank you
recoup
so
it.
much.
Yeah.
That's really great. I actually did not know about that. It would ask you where you want to delete from, whether it would be the album or the whole library. So that's really
like I have like I said, I have 10 albums and then the recent. So I got them like family, myself, Max the Cat, insight classes, fishing trip. So if I go to clean out the fishing trip and I don't want this photo, it'll say, do you want to delete it from the album or the album and the library?
All right,
gives
cool.
you that option,
Thank you, Richard. That's good to know. So yes, the deleted photos album is in the albums tab. It's kind of towards the bottom. And it kind of tries to, each photo, VoiceOver should tell you how many days left it has before it's permanently deleted.
Yeah.
And you can also recover photos by hitting that select button and then double tapping the photos you want to restore. And then there should be buttons at the bottom that will help you recuperate things.
Mary.
Yes, Norman.
Quick question, didn't interrupt.
That's
Can
okay.
you actually go through and have VoiceOver shout out what the gentleman's talking about, that it'll tell you, do you want to delete it from the album? Do you want to delete it from the recent? Can you have it on your phone shout out there?
So I don't know if I have any, let me see if I have any albums in here. Yeah, what I'll do is let me go through, I'll finish up here and then I'll go and see if I have any albums that I can try it with. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you. That's a great question though. If you need that, I will definitely demonstrate that. Okay, so an important thing that people like to do as well is share photos with other people. And that's really important for whether, your family says, oh, you took all the good vacation pictures. Can you send them over? Or if you want to, send them to someone via email, things like that. So it's very similar to the way that you do a lot of the things we talked about. So you would either, if it was an individual photo you wanted to share, you would just double tap on that specific photo, and at the bottom there would be a share button. You would double tap that share button, and it brings up what we call share sheet. And the share sheet has all of the different options for sending it out. So you could text it, you could send it in an email, you could copy it, you could send it to Facebook Messenger, things like that. And that share sheet, I want you guys to be aware that share sheet is usually at the bottom half of your screen. At the top half of your screen, there are still photos that you can view. So if you're using VoiceOver and you double tap that share button, instead of immediately beginning to swipe through to find the different share options, I really suggest that you take your finger and touch the bottom half of your screen first to put VoiceOver's focus in the share sheet area, because sometimes what happens is if you are in the photos half of the screen where there are still photos in the top half and you are swiping left to right through them, sometimes it can change the photo that you are about to share. And you don't want to, it hasn't happened in a while, but it happened to me once or twice where I was like, oh, that's not the right picture that I wanted to share. And it was because I was swiping left or right through the photos, and it changed the focus of what photo I was going to send out. I hope that makes sense, but definitely just try it. So when you hit share, take your finger, touch the bottom half of the screen to put yourself in the share sheet area, and then begin to look for the option that you need.
Mary?
Yes.
I don't know who that gentleman was that just asked.
It's Norman. Mm-hmm.
Okay. May I interject for a minute? I know myself. I can't see the screen at all, so you seem to do a lot of descriptive for those that are like me that can't see the screen at all, I swipe left to right, you know, and goes through icon to icon. And I think to answer Norman's question, I just opened up the photo app, and you swipe all the way to, you're going to say recent deleted, and it'll say it to you. It's all voiced over, Norman, because I can't see it. And you double tap on that, and it's all voice over for you, you know.
That's good. Thanks, Richard. That's good to know. So if you then would like to share multiple photos, then you would actually, maybe you can guess what I'm going to say here, is you would hit that select button at the top of your screen. You would double tap all of the photos you would like to share, and then you would double tap that share button at the bottom of your screen. There's a share button at the bottom of your screen that you would touch or double tap. And then again, there's going to be a share sheet that pops up that allows you to send via email, text message, things like that. And then you would go through, if let's say, for example, you chose mail, you would double tap or tap the mail option, and then it would bring up, you know, who do you want to send it to? Do you want to write a subject? Do you want to write a body? Things like that. Keep in mind that when you send out multiple pictures or big files such as videos, oftentimes when you send it via email, it will pop up and say, well, this seems to be a big file. Do you want to send it in a small size, a medium size, large size, or actual size? It tries to make things a little bit more compact. I always choose actual size so that the picture doesn't get distorted, if it might. And it also might ask you if you want to try using I think it's called like an iCloud link instead, because it can't fit all the photos into an email. If it asks you if you want to send it in an iCloud link, what often happens is the person you're sending the email to gets an email with a link that they click on, and then they can download all of those photos and videos from that point onwards. So it doesn't attach them to the email, but it gives them an external link that you could they could download from. Okay. So the last thing that we're going to talk about is how to get the photos described to you so that you know what's going on in the photos. So this requires you to have something like Be My Eyes or Seeing AI installed on your phone already. Okay, so what you would do is you would find one photo and you would double tap on it. And then of course you would go down. I'm sure you're sick of hearing the word share sheet, but you would go down to the share button and bring up the share sheet. And then you would flick right, or you would scroll all the way down to the option that says Recognize with Seeing AI. Or it might even say, if you have something like Be My Eyes or Envision AI, not Be My Eyes, I'm sorry, Envision AI, it would say Envision AI, and you would actually double tap on that option or touch it, and then it would just send it to that app for analyzing, and it would come up with a description of what's in the picture or any text that might be in that photo. If you do not see this Recognize with Seeing AI option or the Envision option, and you know that you have it installed on your phone, then what you would have to do is go
excuse me, Mary Abby, it's probably because sometimes if the storage gets low on your phone, probably it's because it's got to be re-downloaded.
Nope. So if you have, that's a good thought, Amber, and it could be that maybe you have to re-download the app. But a lot of times, what happens is if you're sure that you have those apps on your phone, you have to scroll all the way down to the button that says Edit Actions. Double tap on it, and then scroll or swipe until you find where it says Insert Recognize with Seeing AI or Insert Envision AI. And then double tap on it, and that will add it to your share sheet. And that will allow you to share the photo to Seeing AI or Envision AI and get the description for the photo that you want. And then it would actually, once you discover what's in that photo, then you would be able to label it accurately and know what's going on in that photo.
Thank you, Mary, because I sometimes have that problem because I know it's there, but when I go to share, it's not showing up. So That's my solution. Go to edit and go to insert.
Yes, insert recognize with Seeing AI. You might have to add it to your share sheet.
My grandma has sent me photos with like text, and I've used Seeing AI, and like I haven't seen my family in a couple of years. Actually, that's where I'm going. And I mean, this class couldn't have come at a better time, where I can actually take pictures and like label them.
That's great, Amber. I'm glad we can help. So that's all I have for you guys today, but I'm happy to answer any questions you might have, or for me or Gloria, or anyone else that, if anyone's.
I just want to do a shout out to the gentleman that had mentioned to go to the very end, which I'm going to do later on this week.
Yeah. Thank you, Richard, for giving us that tip. Okay.
As you can tell, I'm not familiar with photos at all.
Richard, you're very familiar. If you have 10 photo albums, I think you're doing really well there, my friend.
Hey, that's okay. I'm not great at taking, so.
I don't know about you with the dog, Mary, but I got 19 photos of my cat, and that's more than my whole entire family album.
I know. I have quite a number of dog photos. It's bad.
I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna keep Sage still and stop him from giving me kisses when I'm trying to take a picture of her. I'd be like, stop.
Excuse me.
Yes, John. Yes, John.
When are you going to be around this afternoon?
I have a few appointments. Give me a call. We'll try to figure something out.
Okay, because
best time to reach me is after 3.
After 3?
Yep.
Okay.
After 3, I should be free.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Sure, John.
Has anyone actually tried the label element method before? Before I mentioned it today, has anyone ever done that? I'm going to pick on Molly because I know Molly may have. Molly?
Did she leave? I think Molly had to leave.
Maybe Molly left us.
Yeah, I think she had to leave.
Oh, I can't pick on her today then.
I'm here. I just was having trouble unmuting. I'm sorry.
Okay. Nope.
I'm using my work cell phone. What were you asking me, Mary?
Oh, I was asking if you ever had used the 2-finger double tap and hold to label things.
I really haven't. I know that that's like a thing you can do, but I just like, I don't know. I usually will like swipe up and then, select like the form, or not the form control, but I don't know. I usually do it in a different way, but that is something I should look into because I have had people ask me about that before and I'm like, derp, I don't know. So
no, yeah, don't forget to do the hold part because if you're just doing the 2-finger double tap, you might play some music or something.
Yes, that is definitely a thing that people run into. I feel like a lot with the 2-finger double tap, and then all of a sudden your Bard book is playing, and you're like, "What's happening?"
Exactly.
Yeah,
I think that might be my hesitation, to be honest.
Yep, I'm with you. I've done that one too many times. So cool.
Yeah. Oh man, Molly.
Yes.
Molly.
I'm here.
My question, which phone do you have?
So I have an iPhone 11 is my personal phone, and then my work cell phone I have the SE 2020. So I have the best of both worlds. I have one without the home button, and I even still have one with the home button. And I have to say, after having the 11, when I got the 2020 SE, I almost didn't know what to do with myself with the home button.
Do you like the 2020 SE?
Why?
I do. It's a good little phone. I like it. I do, it made me, I felt like with the 11, I was like, wow, I'm really getting good at using a phone that doesn't have a home button. And now I have the SE as well. And I'm like, oh man, I miss the phone with the home button.
I do too.
Because if on the 11, did you ever try the back tap?
I have not done it on the 11, but I have done it on the SE 2020. I made the magic tap. I switched it to back tap because I have this issue, and I don't know if it's just because I'm a doofus, but sometimes when I go to hang up the phone with the magic tap, it's like I think I've done it and then I just haven't. I don't know. So I made it so that instead of the magic tap, you can just do like a one finger double tap on the back of the phone. So I do really like back tap for that. Yes.
Okay, because I set mine because I got the iPhone 12. I set the one finger double tap goes to my home screen. And
that is really smart.
And the what was the one finger triple tap goes to the one where you have to close out apps and stuff.
Oh, the app switcher?
Oh.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing.
John, you're a genius.
He's a genius.
I like it. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes I panic and I'm saying, oh shit, what am I doing?
that's my personal brand as well. Yes.
Oh, thank you, John, for sharing. That's great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, does anyone have questions before we have to end today? In a few minutes. Oh my goodness.
I got one question. Has anybody ever opened up their email and knowing that they have emails in the inbox and all of a sudden they're gone?
No.
Nope. I can't say I have.
That happened to me today. So I'm about to call Apple and see what the hell's going on? How come
does it say something like mail dimmed and you know that you've had? Because what I get is like there should be something that says mail no unread emails. Do you have it set to do like a notification that you're gonna get that you have mail? Because maybe that might be part of your problem.
Nope. I don't think I have that set.
Okay.
It sounds like you deleted all